Hey y'all, this is TCA Gaming, and in this video I'm going to go over something kind of risky, but also new. Maybe something that could be a potential change in the Pokemon market going forward. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but it may be something that we see in the future, something that we've been waiting for quite a while. If you guys remember when I went over the golden auctions, I had showed several boxes where they had been x-rayed, and even a few that had been graded as well by CAS. And so after that, I had a conversation with somebody at Golden, and they kind of went through the process and talked about, what it was that X-ray did, and I was very impressed. And since then, I've had some in detail conversations about what it is I would want to see out of box grading, and honestly, there's a lot of potential there. And so I'm going to take a risk today. I'm going to take a risk, and I'm going to send off products to not only X-ray, but then from X-ray going straight to CAS. So they're going to authenticate the boxes, and then they are going to grade them. But it's not just boxes. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I've went through, in my concerns. But what I'm sending to them, I'm going to show you guys everything I'm sending. First, I'm sending this. This is a base set booster box here, Green Wing. You can see the condition on it is, it's really good. These are boxes that were pulled straight out of cases. Of course, I don't have the sealed case myself, so they're considered just like loose boxes, and we'll kind of get to that here in a minute. But I'm sending 2 Green Wing boxes. Let's see, where's the other one? Oh wait, 2 Blue Wing, 2 Green Wing. Here's the other. Yeah, here's the other Blue Wing. We'll pull this one out too. And I'm showing everything because I want to make sure that it's all documented. Here we go. Here's the other Blue Wing box. Again, really nice condition, sharp corners. These were pulled from cases, supposedly, when I bought them. I bought them off of some of the guys on Instagram that you probably remember. I had a lot of these. These likely come from Pokemon Experience. I'm not sure if he still goes by that. It might be good, something in healing. I think it's a little different IG handle now, but he had access to a lot of cases. And so for a while there was a supplier that was just, there was a couple suppliers, but these boxes, they were like $13,000 or so. And so the prices went down quite a bit, and that's where they leveled off. Between 10 and 13, you wouldn't really see it go below that. But when I was picking them up, I was like, these are good deals. Like you can see, this is just like a crispy box. You got the Charizard on the side with the green wings. These are going to be standard. They're not shadowless. You can see, they've already been checked. You can see in there pretty clearly, but really, really nice condition boxes. And I've got one more. So I'm sending 2 Blue Wing, 2 Green Wing, and I'm doing them in a way that's graded to where 1 Blue Wing and 1 Green Wing, they're going to have just the basic authentication, kind of the same letter that you guys saw, where it's like 9 to 14 hollows, that kind of deal, going through just like the basics, saying, hey, we've examined it. These are real. We've went through some of the cards that are inside through this examination. We've determined that everything is legitimate. And then there's 2 boxes, 1 Blue Wing, 1 Green Wing, that I'm doing their full process all the way through to where they're going to basically tell me everything that they can about the box. And that's going to be on a label that goes on the grading case, not on the booster box itself. That was a specific request that I had. I wanted to make sure that the sticker, it wasn't being put directly onto the box. So it should be going, so it's going directly from them to CAS, and then they're going to encapsulate it, grade it, and then it's going to be on that case. So because it's going from one to the other, I think that's the reason that they can meet that request. Now, it's not the only thing I'm grading. I'm also grading, check this out. Maybe I'll switch it to the big face, since this is a case. Right there we go. So here's the big face one. Now notice right here, you've got the date. So that date, this is a first print case for Evolving Skies. And what I plan to do with it is, I'm not grading the case itself. I'm sending it to them in a sealed case because I want them to open it up and then grade the individual 6 boxes. But because it's coming from a sealed case, they can verify that the boxes are, 1, uncirculated, thanks to Peter at Golden for helping me out, trying to push for that. But also because that has the date on it, and I've got a second print case that they can compare it to. These will be labeled as first print. So these are going to be graded first print, uncirculated Evolving Skies booster boxes. I'm having all 6 boxes graded. So they're going to be the ones who are opening up the case. And just for verification, that right there, that's a second print Evolving Skies, or a reprint. You can see it didn't have the initial release date on it, so this come out sometime likely afterwards. I mean, I guess it's still possible that they could have been issued with the original prints, but the ones that have those dates on it, those are the ones that for sure they would have been printed at a time that was before the release, unless something crazy would have went through. I mean, I'm not too sure how they worked that, but these were the only, like the Evolving Skies cases where I had the first print and the unlimited, or it's not unlimited because it's not first edition, but it's like a later print type case. I thought that would be good to preserve that information. And I told them, if these aren't going to be labeled as uncirculated, there's no point in me sending the case, because the point of doing the grading of these boxes is that you want to preserve the history. You want to preserve the seal. You want to preserve the integrity of the box. And if there's no difference between a loose booster box like, one of these, and a booster box that come from a sealed case which never went into circulation, then there's no point in opening up the case. But if they can preserve that original state of what it is, then you're adding on to something additional to that box. You're keeping the fact that, hey, this never went out in the public. It comes straight from a sealed case. They're opening it there. I'm not the one opening it. They're going to open the case themselves, and then they're going to take the boxes out. They're going to grade the boxes. They're going to have them labeled as first print and uncirculated. And this is all assuming everything goes off without a hitch. Like I'm agreeing to it. I'm signing a contract, and I'm also taking on all the liability when it comes to shipping these items from myself to them, from their facility to CAS, and then CAS back to me. So there's a lot of risk and liability that I'm having to take on by shipping these items myself. But right now, everything's kind of in its infancy, and so I think it's really cool. Now, these are, I've held on to these for a while. So what you're looking at here is, this is a minty, like, look how good of condition this thing is in. A little bit of a bend right there. We have a first edition base set booster pack blister. So I'm sending one for Blastoise, and then we have right here, here's the next one. This is a Venusaur. This one I got from Nick, Old School Pokemon. You can see this one does have a crease right there, but still, the condition of the blister itself is still in really nice shape. It's just where that bend was. Everything else is intact, fully authentic, I guess you could say. Now, if I remember right, I can't remember for sure if, man, this one's in like beautiful condition. I know I got 3 from Nick, Old School Pokemon, but also 3 from another Nick you guys know, PokeRev. And so that's why I'm sending 2 of each. Check it out. Both of the Charizards are really nice. Great shape. Just to find blisters intact at all from the WotC era, it can be tough. Now, I'm not sure what all is involved in the authentication process with these blisters, but they're going to run through their X-ray process, and then it's going to go to CAS, and they're going to encapsulate them. And then last we have another Venusaur, and you can see this one is better than the other. Doesn't have that big crease on it. I'd honestly say out of the 6, the best condition one was that first Charizard blister that we saw. The second one looked to have like a little small mark maybe down here, but nothing crazy. So I'm curious to see how these grade. I'm hoping that it's not like the video games where it's like 9.2, 9.4, 9.8. I'll be honest, that's kind of annoying. I hope it's closer to like a PSA system where it's like, okay, this is an 8, a 9, a 10. If they want to do half grades, whatever, but I hope that they don't. I hope they just stick to like the whole numerical grades, because I feel like that's just like this known thing in the hobby where people are like, yes, this is what we want. We don't need the 8.5s, the 7.5s, the 6.5s. Just give us a whole number grade. And but I'm not too sure on the process. So if they do have the decimal grades and that kind of stuff, we're gonna roll with it. We're gonna see what they offer here. But like I said, I'm sending all this product to them. I've got to package it. I got to make sure I package it in a way that it can get from one facility to another. So it's a lot. It might end up being two packages. I might send the cases in one and then the booster boxes in another. But if you started adding up the numbers for these 2, 4, 6, what is this? And then 6 plus 12 products. I mean, you're going to realize that, the value adds up very quickly. And so it's going to be a risk. I'm going to see what happens. I'm hoping these boxes grade well. I hope these packs grade well. I hope the booster boxes and Evolving Skies grade well. But if they don't, we're going to get a better idea of how these companies do grade, how they authenticate, and then I'm going to share the results with you guys. Now, let's take a step back. I want you to think about it for a minute. If they can get, their stuff together where sealed products can be graded in mass, where they can handle volume, they can authenticate it, they can, make the process, more seamless to where, people don't have to package for 3 different facilities. They can just send it to one place and then they take care of the rest. And then they get it back to them. They just charge them an amount for shipping. That could be huge because that's what we have with trading cards. And what do we see anytime a card gets bought over $250 on eBay? Like, you have the option to get cards graded. You can have them sent to the vault. They can be handled. I think we could potentially have that for sealed product. What's the biggest issue people have with buying high-end sealed product? Authenticity. I get so many questions from people like, hey, can you tell me if this box is real? And I'm like, from looking at it in a picture online, I probably can't. But I can tell you if I see any red flags. But if this place can fully authenticate stuff and put a guarantee on the fact that, hey, we examined these, they look real, and we put our name behind it, move it on to the next buyer, that's huge. Especially even with modern, when you're talking about packs, say like Crown Zenith, I mean, they're what, $15 a piece? You got Celebrations over $20 a piece. If you buy a bunch of those or you get them graded, it would not take much to get sealed product over the $1,000 mark, $250 mark. Who knows where it's at? They could start off with just boxes over 10 grand so that they don't have to have to deal with, huge amounts of volume, but it could cut out the scammers, the fakes, the resealers. I think this has a lot of potential. I think this could go places if it's done right and correctly and they can handle volume. Maybe they get bought out by one of the big players. I don't know. It might be a good move. It might be a very smart move. I believe this is an open market. You got to think, I'm grading Evolving Skies boxes, but what if every release, when we got cases in directly from distribution, or say people buy them from Pokemon Center and they get them in, what if they had those boxes graded just like they do with modern products now? Think of the level that Pokemon, it changed. It went from, people graded cards every now and then, WotC cards, they're not that expensive, even in graded form. Like, I know many of you weren't around for that. They're just now achieving like crazy amounts. It hasn't always been like that. They used to be really cheap, but that was just kind of like this really niche thing. We might be in the early stages, the niche area of preserving sealed product in a way that authenticates them, assigns a conditional grade to them. And I think that there is so much potential there. Now, might turn out to be nothing, might fizzle. People may just really want to see the cards. But see, like, I am breaking open these cases. I realize that's like taking a step away from preservation. I like to see the box. I like to see the colors. I think that a booster box, something like this, displays so much better than a brown case like this. Now, I'm not saying there's not a place for that, because there truly is. But I think that there, for me personally, I just like seeing the box. That gives me the nostalgic kick. It reminds me of the set, takes me back to it. Not really so much the white label on the outside of a case. And for the most of you, if you go to stores, you go to hobby shops, you're not even going to see the cases. What you're seeing is the individual products that have been put out. And I think the majority of people are going to connect that way as well. But anyways, I don't want to get too deep into this because I don't even know what's going to happen yet. I'm taking the risk. I'm documenting the products that I'm sending. And when I get them back, I'm going to share my findings with you guys. And I hope this turns out to be like, something that's really cool. And if I wanted to keep the doors closed on it, I wouldn't be sharing with everybody, hey, I got this, you can do this first print or uncirculated. I don't even know if it's going to work yet, but these are my ideas. And I imagine that with everyone that might watch this video, or if it gets shared to somebody else, they start brainstorming, Like you can think of really good ideas, like how you can have things graded or preserved, and let's make it something that's more than just one person um, taking the initiative and seeing how it works. If you think it's a good idea, or if you think it's a bad idea, just put it down there in the comments. I'd love to read and see what ideas you have, because somebody else, Peter, he gave me the idea for the uncirculation. Like, yeah, that's great, because then it makes it to where I know the difference between a box that comes from a sealed case versus one that's been out in the wild. Like one that's coming from a sealed case, I mean, that's never been touched by anybody else. It's in the most optimal condition that you can probably find outside of, just a box that comes in better condition because of the wrap or, whatever it is. But also, it come from a case that has been authenticated, and then you've got first print versus. I mean, there's just so many things I think here that could be opened up, and I'm kind of excited about it. So let me know what you guys think. If you think I'm opening up the wrong kind of door, you go ahead and you can put that down there in the description too. But I love the fact that we're getting these options now. Like we've been asking for graded sealed boxes for years, for decades, and now looks like it might be a reality. We might be able to get something like this done, and so I'm excited about it. I hope you guys are too, and I hope you have a great week.